I have been wanting to get a knife from Work Tuff Gear on the channel for a long time. So here we are, finally. Now this is a collaboration knife with Outer Limitless and Work Tuff Gear. And, you know, I'm just going to put it through a little bit of hell real quick, and then we're going to check it out and see how it held up, see how the edge held up. We're going to see how easily this thing hones back and strops back and all that good stuff. It does have a convex edge, which we're going to talk about. You know, how to properly strop and properly hone back a convex edge on something this large. It's using SK85 tool steel, which is a Japanese high carbon water hardening non-stainless tool steel, somewhat comparable to 1085. It's something commonly used in springs, machetes, axes, and things like that. Basically, it's a super tough steel. Not going to be the highest edge retention steel, but as far as applications like this is exactly what it's good for. Now, right here, I am actually gonna take this knife and turn it into a spear. So I found me a nice straight stick. I'm just doing this to mess around. We're just goofing off a little bit. But I found me a nice straight stick. I'm stripping it down, getting it ready, getting it nice and, you know, round and straight and all that good stuff. Because we're gonna tie this damn knife right to the stick and see if we can't make a spear. You know, maybe practice some hog hunting or something. Now the handle of this knife is quite large. It's pretty long, so you do have multiple areas where you can grip it. And it does have a choke up spot where you can choke up. You know, when I was stripping the stick really good, right there, I'm just checking to make sure the stick isn't gonna break on me if I stab a hog or something. But anyways, it's a straight back blade. It's using G10 scales. It is a full ting construction. And the way I'm tying it to the stick right now, it has 3 holes in it. It has 1 hole right above the handle on the blade, and then 2 holes at the bottom of the handle. And I'm using those holes to tie paracord through and tie it to the stick. Now, I'm not doing any special knots or anything like that. This is just, you know, quick and crude. I'm just trying to tie it up and, you know, start poking it into things and see, you know, if it can withstand that type of stuff. You know, I'm more paying attention to the edge and all that stuff more than anything else. Trying to see how much damage I can put onto it before it starts failing or, you know, starts showing some wear. So here, I'm just tying the bottom of it now. You can see the 2 holes in the handle where I'm pulling the paracord through. I want to make sure this thing is nice and secure for when I am sticking it into logs and hogs and things like that. But there we go. See, I got an anchor to the stick, so let's see how she throws. If I could throw a little bit better, she might just stick. So yeah, it actually is sticking pretty good. I was actually surprised how well this actually worked out. I was not expecting it to do as well as it did. But yeah, it spears really good. It was sticking nice and deep. You can see right here when I go to pull it out, it doesn't just pull right out. Like it's stuck in there pretty damn good. So yeah, nice penetration with this straight back blade. You know, even though it is a straight back, it has a good amount of belly, a perfect amount for chopping and stuff, but not too much to where the tip is not going to be pokeable. And here I am checking the tip retention, seeing how well it holds up from bending and things like that. This is a very, very hard piece of wood that is frozen, so I don't recommend doing this, but I just wanted to check and make sure that it wasn't going to bend or chip or break or anything like that. I'd probably expect this steel to bend, but you know, before it does anything, but I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'm just doing a little bit more chopping and cutting. You know, right here I'm testing the ergonomics of the choke up spot, making a spear. So I wanted to test the handle in all different ways, shapes, and forms. And then we're gonna check this edge out and see how well this thing held up after all of this work. Now, before doing any testing, I did check the sharpness of the edge, and it was hair shaving sharp. So much for an edge that can shave hair being too brittle. I guess that guy from Sharpen's Best just likes a dull knife after all. But anyways, this is all the stuff that came with the knife. I just figured I'd show you guys everything, and I did have to put on the belt loop myself, which was pretty easy to do, very simple. let's take a look at the damages. Let's see if we got any damages on the edge. We're gonna look at it under the microscope. We're also gonna hone it back. Now it shouldn't really have we didn't, you know, it wasn't too tough. We weren't too rough on it. So let me clean it off. That's the first thing. It has not even been cleaned yet. I'm just using some dish soap and water that I use on my stones. Paper towel. I'll oil it later. Right now I'm just trying to clean the schmuck off of it because it does have a lot of dirt. And I want to look at that edge. All right, so moment of truth. We're going to do the nail trick first, where we take our nail and we run it up the edge. Oh my goodness. I feel one little tiny schmitty right there, but that's it. It's like glass, and that might be something that'll literally just drop out because I can't even see it. The microscope might not even pick that up. It's so small. That's the beautiful thing about using your nail. Your nail is the best indicator you have for having a good apex, because it will feel like slick glass if it's done right. If the edge is done well, and I checked it beforehand and it did. So let's look at it under a microscope really quick, and then we are going to hone it back. I'm going to show you guys how to hone a big knife like this. Okay, so I put a black dot with a marker behind it, so wherever the dot is, that's where it's at. Okay, right here. Okay, let's focus. Okay, I see there's a little bit of schmuck on the end. There it is. Okay, so right there is what I feel. That little tiny, tiny nick. That is so insignificant. And that probably was from hitting a rock or something when I speared it across into the wood, because, you know, one time it did fall out. Here's the thing though. Normally, like I told you guys the other day, well, if you watch all my videos, my favorite stone to hone on is my ultra fine Veneve resin bonded diamond stones, the 800 and the 1200, which is 3500 grit and 5000 grit. It's a very fine stone. That's what I most recommend when you're going to be honing your edge, is a very, very fine, hard stone. You want something very hard, like a ceramic, resin bonded diamond, whatever. You can even go as far as a super fine diamond rod or whatever, but the thing is that I think this thing has a convex edge. So in that case, I'm pretty sure this is this is a convex edge. So seeing that it's a convex edge, that's not a problem. There's nothing wrong with that. Stropping is going to serve a convex edge the best, and we will start there. It does still feel very sharp. It's almost, it's not really getting hair anymore. We're going to try to bring it back to hair shaving sharp. Let's see if it's at least paper shaving sharp. Let's see if it's paper shaving. Oh yeah. Let's see if we can find that spot. No. I barely felt it. I barely felt it right there. One more time. It's right there. No, it's barely even coming up in the paper. So now what I was going to say is that because it's a convex, we're not going to be able to hit the entire edge bevel. Optimally, if it was a V grind, we would want to hit the top all the way down to the apex. Now, if not, then maybe just a little bit of a higher angle, but not much, as we want to try to hit as much as the bevel as possible, so we're not micro beveling. Not that there's anything wrong with micro beveling, there's a time and a place for that. So in this case, what I'll do is I'll try to match it up as much as possible, but I don't want to hold my angle low, because then I will only hit the back of the bevel since it's a convex. So I'm gonna want to make sure my edge is just a little tiny bit higher. Not a lot, just a little bit, because being a convex, there's no way we can take something that's perfectly flat and hit a convex edge from the top of the bevel to the apex. But what we can do is get the first half of it, or the first bottom half. Now, if this is not something you have, you can easily use a ceramic rod or a ceramic stone of some sort, and just very gentle. These are not, I'm not pushing hard. I'm just basically realigning any teeth and then adding any micro scratches to the apex that that might be gone or that we might need to bring back some bite. Oh yeah. So right there, that's already better. I can slightly feel, I'm just gonna do a couple more passes with 2 hands. It'll feel a little bit better. Now, if you use a ceramic rod, which you absolutely can, it's gonna be the same concept. If it was a V-grind, you would try to hit the entire bevel. But since it's a convex, we're not gonna be able to do that, so we're gonna have to hit the apex somehow, so we're gonna have to hold the angle just a little bit higher if you're, ooh, that's sharp. If you're gonna want to, if you're gonna want to hone on a ceramic rod with a convex. So whatever the edge angle is, you just want to make sure that the apex is hitting, but not too high, because you don't want to micro bevel it. You're trying to hit as much of the bevel as possible without missing the apex, since it's a convex edge. Oh wow, yeah, that just actually made it even better. I think we got rid of that little dent, at least the majority of it. And now I can actually see the scratches that I am applying on the stone. Let's grab this strop. Here is a little trick to stropping a convex edge. Since the edge is rounded and not a V-taper, you can't hit the entire bevel without pushing pressure into the leather. So, and that can cause edge rolling. So without doing that, you hold a lower angle. So you're going to get the back of the bevel, do a couple passes, then slightly raise it. And this, when you raise the angle, you're doing it ever so slightly. You're hardly even going to feel the difference. And then last, raise it one more time and make sure you're hitting the apex. Look really close at the edge bevel. Make sure you're hitting the apex and do a couple passes right there. And then you just repeat on both sides. A little bit lower, raise it up just a little bit, and then raise it up one more time. So I'll do 2 passes per angle, and that can help get the entire bevel. And if you look, you can see this thing is already like mirror polished from the stropping and the honing that we did. Very, very sharp too. Look at that edge. It is damn near a mirror polish. It's basically a mirror polished edge after stropping it up. Now technically you can do this trick with stones, but it's not as easy because the leather's forgiving and the stone is not. So just make sure you're not applying any pressure. Just make sure you can maintain the angle. That's how much pressure you want. And work your way up from the back of the bevel to the center of it to the apex. And that should help you get the entire bevel. Now, if you notice that it's starting to lose bite, then you are raising your angle too high. And in that case, just adjust it a little bit and lower it a little bit. Let's see if we got it back to hair shaving sharp. And yeah, buddy, she's very sharp. Okay, let's take a look at the apex now, or sorry, the edge bevel, and see what we did to it exactly with the stone. So I can already see that I've added, let me see if you guys can see, I added micro serrations at the apex going at an angle. Let me see if I can find a good spot to really show it. Maybe I can tilt it and show it. Let me, there you go, you can kind of see it there. There you go. There's a good There you go, look at that. So you see how there's scratches a little bit deeper towards the apex a little bit, just a little bit deeper than the other ones. They're not like crazy deep, but they're definitely there. You can definitely see it, and you can see that I added some micro serrations to the apex to just bring up some more bite. Now let's be honest, you know, it's a hard use knife, so this is not something that you're really looking for a ton of bite. You're looking for more toughness in the edge, but I still want my edges to be nice and sharp regardless of how tough I'm going to use them. I want them to be sharp, and this, you know, is a very sharp edge considering how tough it is. You know, the geometry on this thing is not super thick. It probably looks a lot more robust than it is. The edge actually, or the geometry of the blade, gets down to a nice thin edge. This is definitely something you could probably use a little bit, you could probably use it pretty good, you know, with smaller tasks as well as big tasks. It's kind of that area where it's not too heavy to really manipulate. You could, you know, get it in pinch grips if you had to, and things like that. And then because the sharpness is so high, as long as you hold on to the sharpness, then it'll be ready for when you need to do that stuff. And you know, if you do some chopping and, you know, some stupid stuff with it, or some stuff that you have to do with it, and it's tearing up your edge a little bit, then, you know, you can hone or strop it back and bring that sucker back over and over and over. Now, when I went from the stone to the ceramic, you probably don't want to do that. I mean, you can, I guess, I did, but usually you want to pick one or the other, the stone or the ceramic stone. Pick one and then the strop. Or, you know, you can just try stropping and see how that does, and if it doesn't do as much as you'd like, then you can hone and go back to stropping. Now, the only issues that I had was the handle. When I hold it directly, just right in the middle, and I would thwack things, I could feel a little tiny bit of rotation. And if I grab the spine and I squeeze, I can kind of muscle it, you know, to rotate it a little bit. However, if I squeeze back here, I can't do that. It's solid as a rock. If I hold all the way up here, same thing. If I hold 3 fingers back here like this to get a lot of distance, same thing, there's no rotation. So really, it's just an adjustment for your own grip. You will quickly get comfortable and find the exact spots that are very comfortable for you and natural for you to prevent any sort of spinning or anything like that. I like G10. I would have loved to have seen this in micarta. That would have been super badass, but the steel held up well. The blade shape was nice. It is a straight back, so, you know, being a straight back, you know, that's a really tough blade shape, and very versatile, especially with this type of application. It has a 90-degree spine. It strikes sparks off a ferro rod. There is parts that won't because they're chamfered, but he has a nice sharp edge going down the spine right here that you can strike fire with. Sharpening tool and plunge grind's really good. Love all that. You know, the edges held up really well. The steel felt good, you know, or is doing well, I should say. You know, it's a full tang construction. Everything's put together and finished very well. So yeah, I'm super happy with that. Seeing as how I like this one so much, and this is the first Work Tuff gear knife I've gotten to try, I am really excited to try more. I definitely want to get more on the channel, because if this is an indicator of their quality and what they can do, yeah, I'm psyched to get some more on the channel, because this thing's badass. This thing is awesome. This is definitely something that you're gonna want if you're looking for an indestructible survival knife, camping knife, outdoors knife. This is the way to go for sure.